Hey everybody, my name is Brian and today we are going to start a new tutorial of Autocad 2015. If you're an advanced user, you should see my other tutorials in my channel. If you're a starter, you should see this tutorial that we are going to make today. In this case, we are using Autocad 2015 and we are going to talk about how to use the basic of Autocad. Okay, on the top bar we are going to have the different tools we are going to use. Today we are going to see almost all the home buttons, and then we have the insert, annotate, parametric, and other toolbars. Where it says drawing, this is the name of the drawing we are making. If we want to make more drawings and don't close the main drawing, we can press here plus, and it will make us another new drawing. For example, here you can see we can start a new drawing, and then we have drawing 1 and drawing 2. Then here at the lower part we have here where it says command. It means when we are using AutoCAD we can just press the icons we have right over here, or we can just type the shortcut and we are going to use the same command. For example, if I want to make a line, I can press line, or I can press L, enter, and make a line. We're going to see that in a couple of minutes. We can also see in this toolbar the different properties of all the tools we are going to use. For example, if we are making a rectangle, it will tell us what we need to make the rectangle and or all the specifications and the data we need to make the rectangle. Down here we have the model. Model is this sheet we are using, this black sheet. Here we are going to draw everything. Everything you want to draw is going to be right over here. Then we are going to have the layouts. Those are going to be the sheets where we are going to make our presentations. Here we have layout 1, layout 2, so we can make more layouts. Usually we draw in the model the real scale of the things, real scale. And on layout we are going to scale the drawing. So usually you should draw again in the model at real measures. Okay, now we're going to here at the right. This is a very used tool for 3D and 2D. We can see the top view, we can move to the front, or well, you can see the drawing as you like. And here at the down part, this tab is going to be used for some properties of the commands and other stuff that we are going to see in my tutorials. Okay, let's start drawing. First we're going to draw a line. We press line and you can see we are making a line. Great. What's the main difference between line and polyline? For example, if we are drawing here, you can see we have just made a line and a polyline. The main difference is when we are going to select, making a left click, you can see here we have 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines. And if I just make a click here, you can see it is just 1 line. That's the main difference between polyline and line. When you're drawing a polyline, it will be just 1 line, and in polylines you will make a lot of lines. When selecting, or if you go inside a command, if you want to go outside the command, you can press escape, like that. For example, I select here and I press escape, and then it's not selected. You can see when we are going to select, when you want to select an object, you can go pressing the left click and go to the left. You can see it's the color green, and if you go to the right, you can see color blue. The difference are the main ways that you select the objects. For example, if I go to the left, it's green, and if I select just a little bit of the line, it will select the complete line object. In this case, you can see in polyline, if I select with the green, it's going to select the complete object. But if you go with the blue, if the object is not completely inside the blue screen, it will not get selected. You can see, not selected. But if I get, for example, the full line, it will be selected. If we go to polyline and we get the full line, it won't select this full line because it's a polyline. So if I want to select the complete line, I should select something like this, and then it will be selected. Or I can go with the green one and I will select the complete line if I want this too, or whatever I want. In this version of AutoCAD 2015, there are new ways to select. That is this one. If you press left bottom of the mouse and you don't leave it, you maintain it pressed, you can make the shape you want. You can see this is for example, if I want to select this line but not this one and this one, you can see it's selected, but I could do something like this and it's also selected. Okay, you can do the same with the green one and it will work as the same. Okay, now we know how to make lines, but when we are making lines, we need we need a real length. So we are going to select line, and you can see, for example, if I want to make a line, I have different angles. So if I don't want to make different angles, I want to be straight, what we can do is go right over here and activate the ortho mode or press F8. So you are going to be able to make straight lines like this. And now what we can do is put different size. For example, 5. Enter, and then that lines is 5. Well, this is something very important you should know. When we are drawing in AutoCAD, I told you have to draw in real scale. So, for example, if I'm drawing 5, you should not be afraid of if you're working in millimeters or meters or centimeters or inches. If you press 5, this will be 5 millimeters, or it could be 5 meters. That's not a problem. So if you are working on AutoCAD, you can use any type of units you want. Don't be afraid with that. We are going to see how it's scale in the layout. Okay, now we can make a line. We're going to press 5. We can go to the top 5, and we can make the other line 5 and 2 and 5, and then you are drawing in AutoCAD. Okay, now we are going to see the circle. The circle will have different type of circles. In this case, you can see this circle is a radial circle. There you can see, for example, if I press 1, this circle will be of 2 of diameter. You can see 2. Great. If you press right over here, you can see we have other type of circles like double point, 3 points. Some of these are very useful. For example, we have just used radius, but if we want to use diameter, we just press diameter. And if we want to be a diameter of, for example, 2, here you can see circle diameter, as I told you. Enter, and then we have the same thing. Here I did it with a radius, here with diameter, and it's the same shape. To deleting this, you can press delete, and that's it. Okay. Other circles that we have is 2 points and 3 points. This is very useful when you have, for example, I'm going to draw something like this. And if you want to make a circle that touches this side and this side, if you're going to use it with, for example, a radius, it will be difficult to make it in the middle. So it's better if you use 2 points. And that's it. it's made. If we use, for example, 3 points, and we want to use this also point, this point also, you can see it's easy to do. Something that you should know when using AutoCAD, you have to activate the OSNAPs. The OSNAPs is the abbreviation of Object Snap. What is that for? Well, you can see if I'm making a line, or just when I was using a circle, you can see that my line is displaying on my cursor. You can see like a green button, and here another green, and here another green button. That are references that we are going to use in AutoCAD, and they are very, very, very useful. You can also see if I make a line, you can see it's showing me a square when I go to the end of the line. So these are the OSNAPs. We're going to show how to activate and deactivate them. Sometimes when you are using AutoCAD, they are deactivated, so it will be more difficult to draw in AutoCAD if you don't have these activated. Well, let's show where it is. Okay, in this version of AutoCAD, they are on this square. You can press right click from the mouse and press Object Snap Settings. They will open the Object Snap, and then you can see you have to be activated on F3, F11, and here you can select whatever you want. For example, the end point, that's when we are selecting the last part of the line, middle point of the line, or the center, and well, for example, here I'm selecting everything, but sometimes selecting everything will be a mess, so you should select what you need, or select everything, and when you are in a drawing that it's more difficult, you just deselect what you don't need. So for example, if we deselect the object snaps, you can see if we are making a line, it's not going to help me where is the end point of the line, or the middle point of the line. So if we go right over here and we select, for example, here, and you can see it's right of the end, or at the end of the line, you can see it's at the end of the line, but if I just make a zoom, it's not selecting, and this is going to make a problem on the future when we are drawing on this same drawing. So we are going to go back right over here. We are going to select Object Snap, and we are going to activate, for example, endpoint, middle point. We can use also perpendicular and nearest, for example, and center also. You can see now that's the endpoint. It's at the end, and if I scroll near the line, it's going to be at the end point. You can also move all the way inside the line, and you can see when it's a triangle, it will be the middle point. That's the middle point of this line. Right over here we have the middle point of this line, and that's it. The nearest, it's double triangle right over there. Okay. Now what we are going to see is how to use arc. Arc is this one. You can press 3 clicks, 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and there you have the arc. If you select the arc, you can move it something like this. Press click, and you can also connect it to the main drawing. And then we're going to, at the end of this drawing, we're going to draw a very simple blueprint, so you can know how to draw some other things. Here the arc, we have different types of arc, like circles, 3 points, start, center, end, and we have all of these circles. Okay, then we are going to see how to use it at the blueprint. Here we have the rectangle, that you can make squares, rectangles. You can also do the same thing with the line or the polyline, as you like. And here we have some other shapes. Okay, now we are going to see how to use the other tools like modifiers that we are going to use for moving, for copying, for mirror scaling, and other type of commands that are going to be very useful. For example, move. This is going to be for selecting the object, the entire object, or a part of the object. We press enter, we select where we want to get the object from, and then we, for example, if we want to move it to a distance, we can move and press the distance, for example 15, and that's the distance. If we want to move it to add it to an object, for example to the middle of this arc right over there, and for other stuff. Next, for copying, if we want to select copy, we can select the object, press enter, and you can copy the object. You can copy something like this, or you can copy with a distance, for example 5, then 10, then 15, and then whatever you like, and will be copy. Okay, this same feature we have it at the array. Is this one we have right over here. If we select the object and press enter, we can make an array of the object. You can see here we can do something similar like we have just done. You can see, and here you can change the columns, for example 2, 1 column, the space between the squares, for example 5 or 2. In this case, this is the distance for the columns. You can see here's the column, that's the distance of 2. So if we are going to see this distance, you should go right over here. There are 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have the distance between squares 5. We can do something like 2 or whatever you like. Okay, let's go to another command. Rotate. For example, I have this rectangle, we select it, we press enter, we select where we want to rotate it from. For example, the endpoint, this one, you can rotate it something like this. Or you can also, if you press F8 or touch here, you can rotate at any different angles you want. Click, and that's it. Okay, we are going to see mirror. Mirror, for example, we are going to do something like this, and if we press mirror, select the object, we press enter, and then we select, for example, well, we can go right over here, there's the mirror. Okay, for mirror I selected the object. First I selected the mirror, selected the object, I press enter, I select where I want to select the objects. Here I had just selected right over here the click, left click, now another click, enter, and that's it. Okay, for scaling we select the object, we press enter, and we move to the scale we want. Usually if you press 1 and then you press enter, the object will not scale because it's the scale it is. But if you press scale again and you move it, for example, for 0.5, it will be 0.5. It will be the 50% less size right over there. Okay, we are going to also use these other tools, that is, for example, fillet. Fillet is very used when, for example, if you are making a line here and a line here, and then you want to these both lines being touched, you press fillet, select this line and this other line, and will get connected. Great. You can also use, instead of fillet, if you have your shape something like this, you can also do what I have just done, this, without using fillet. But fillet is like more helpful and more faster than moving one at a time. What we are going to see also is the trim. The trim is a very used tool. For example, I'm going to use copy to copy this line. For example, if I have this line, I want to cut it, I can do something like this, as I have just shown you, or we can use the trim, enter, and then it's cut to the edge of this line. It's faster. So for example, if you got these 3 lines, you can press trim, enter, and make the 3 lines at once. Great. We also have this other tool. I'm going to move this right over here. For example, I move here and I want to trim. You can see it's trim. Okay, for example, if I got something like this, now I'm using the different commands so you can know how they work, and then we are going to use it for drawing, and you are going to see, oh, that's for what I can use it for. We can see the extend, pressing right over here, we are going to press extend, and this is going to be used to extend lines. I press extend, enter, and I can extend the lines. You can see it's extended. If I go to this part of the line, it will extend to this, to here. If I go to this side, it will extend to here. You can also use extend, something like this. For example, I press extend. Instead of pressing enter, I will select the line where I want to extend it. For example, this one and not this one. And then I press enter and I select the lines, and they were going to be extended to this one. If I do the other method, if I press extend and I press enter, I can select all the lines and they will extend to the primary, or the first line, and then the second one. Okay, and then we are going to see, we can see the annotations. This is very easy. If we press the A, you can type whatever you want. You can select it and change to scale or the type of capital, also the colors, and whatever you want to do. That's the text. You can also move it, and you can also change with double click to the text. You can change the scale of the text, something like this, for example, or you can select the text and use, for example, scale, and you can scale it with that command. Okay, linear is going to be used for knowing the distance, and we are going to also see, well, we are going to see all this stuff, but we are going to start drawing the main drawing. For example, in this case, I'm going to make a living room, and the units, they don't, they are going to be in meters. You can do it with inches or whatever you want. Here we are going to do the first line. In this case, I'm using the line command. I need it to be straight, so we are going to use here, and it's going to be 8. Sometimes when you start using AutoCAD, and for example your units are in, I don't know, whatever unit you are using, sometimes, for example, I press like this and you will say, oh, it's like not at the correct scale. That's not a problem. You should scroll over the line and you will see
the real size, and that's not a problem. If you are looking at there's a grid, you can go right over here and press, and there's no more grid, or change the scale of the grid pressing here at the grid and changing the distance. Okay, well, okay, I'm making the living room. What we are going to do is a line of 4, and then a line of 8, and then a line of coastal line right over there. Another command that is very useful is this one, that's called offset. When you press offset, it's going to make a copy of the line you're selecting to whatever place you want. For example, I want to select this line to point 3. Then I select the line, I move to the place I want, for example at the top, this one to the right, this one down over here, and this one here, and there I'm starting to have a top floor plan, and I'm going to use the fillet to close this, and close this, and close here, also here. Okay, I can start making a window, for example. Here I'm going to make a line, and to make a line here, oh no, I'm going to make a window that is 2 and point 3 and 2. That's my window. I'm going to erase that. And the windows are going to be, I'm going to move this to this corner, and I want to copy this to point from this wall. I want it to one distance. Then I'm going to make a mirror from the middle, so this is going to be at the same distance. There's my window, and what we are going to do right now is, for example, an entrance, and I'm going to use offset one more time. The other thing, if you are using a line and we use offset as we have been using, I will have to do this 3 times, but if you use it with polyline and you don't break the line, and then we press offset, we make the distance, enter, it will make all the line completely. Then we can use the trim, enter, to cut all those parts we don't need. Something is very important to know, that when we are drawing in AutoCAD, we have to make layers. The layers are going to be very important, because when we are making a floor plan or whatever drawing we want, sometimes we want to turn off some things, like for example the equipment, and see the lightings, and see, for example, other things. For example, it's not the same plan for the blueprint. It's not the same for an extrusion than for example the plumber, and that's all you have to know. For the layers, we are going to go to here. You can see the layers that I make. We didn't make anyone, so we are going to make new. So we are going to select layer properties. It's going to open. Here we are going to create a new layer, and it's going to be called walls, or wall. Then we are going to select a color, and we can also select what type of line, if it's continuous or it's dashed. We can also see the line weight. In this case, I'm going to leave all at default, and if it's going to be printed or not. Then we are also going to make, for example, you can make all the layers right now, or you can make them when you are drawing. For example, equipment, We're also going to make units or text or annotations and etc. whatever you want. We are going to select some colors, and if I double click right over here, whatever I'm drawing, it's going to be wall. If for example I want to change for other thing, I can select equipment or annotations or whatever I want. In this case, all of these are going to be walls. And now we are going to draw some equipment details. For example, this is a basic window. We are going to make an offset. Then what we are going to make is, for example, a door, a double door. So here is equipment. We are going to make a line right over here. The double door is going to be 2. Right over here. This is the middle. We are going to do the frame of the wall. I'm sorry, of the door. We are going to. It's going to be 1 point something like this. Now here we are going to move it to the corner and give some space. Alright, then we are going to use the arc. We can use this arc, the start, center, end. So you can select start, center, and end. In this case, you have to move a little bit here, or you can also use start and center end from here. So there's the correct line. This equipment is going to be in another color, for example gray, and it's going to be dashed. So you can go right over here and load a dash line. Here we select it, we select the load, and now this line is dashed. You cannot see dashed because it's you have to change the scale of this line. So to change the scale, you have to press CH, something like this, press enter, and then here in line type scale we are going to try, for example, 0.5, nope, 0.2, nope, there it's dashed. We're going to select the wall, the door, then we are going to mirror this, and this should be in another color, for example also gray. There we have the double wall doors. We are going to also write here living room. We are going to scale it. Move it. Now we are going to make a table. The table, we can make it with a rectangle. For rectangle, if you press one click here, you will see specify other point or corner from the rectangle. In this case, we are going to use dimension. We can select right over here dimension, or we can press D enter, and then specify the length of the rectangle. It's going to be 2 by 1, 2 enter, 1 enter, and that's the size. Now we have to make a click, and there's our rectangle. we're going to move it. You can see the sizes are correct, 2 by 1. Now we are going to move these, for example, it's going to be here, and I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to center to the window and move it 2, nope, 1. That's it. Now I'm going to make the chairs. The chairs are going to be, I'm going to make a click, D, enter, and they are going to be 0.5 by 0.5. I'm going to move them. They're going to be inside the table, a part inside and another part not inside. I'm going to make here another line, then I'm going to move it to the front. Right over here you can see the back part of the chair. And now what we are going to do is make a mirror. Select the table, mirror, enter. I'm sorry, mirror, select the chair, enter. There it is. One more time, mirror, in this case from the middle of the table. And we are going to make another mirror. No, we are going to make a copy here and rotate it. And we are going to put it, move here. Something you should know, if you press, for example, if I make a line or whatever command I want, I press escape. If I press enter again, it's going to make me the last command I use, in this case line. For example, if I was using circles and I press enter, it's going to make me the same thing one more time. If I'm using trim, enter, then if we press escape and we press enter again, it will make me one more time the trim. Alright, there is my table. I'm going to make one more mirror again. That's my table. I'm going to draw with the circle some stuff on the table, some decorations. We are also going to make, for example, a puff, 1 by 1 by 1. It's kind of big, so we're going to scale it to 0.8. That's going to be a 0.8 by 0.8. We're going to copy these and we are going to make a sofa with polyline. For example, it's going to be 1 by 2 by 1. We're going to close it right over here. We're going to move it. We are going to use offset for the size, the size of the sofa. It's going to be 0.15. I'm going to break this polyline, so I'm going to press X, enter. That's break, so they are going to be all lines. I'm going to press extend, enter, and I'm going to extend these both lines. I'm going to make another line at the middle. Here's my drawing. Now, for example, we're going to use another layer for hatch. and it's going to be gray. And another for lighting, so I'm going to show you an example, and another for floor. Okay, lighting is going to be on red, on floor is going to be on gray. Great. I'm going to make another table, a small one, 0.2, no, it's too small, 0.4, 1.2, 0.4. I'm going to move it. Offset. That's it. You can see my living room is better right now. Now what we are going to do is use hatch. Hatch is this tool right over here. You can press it. First, what we are going to do is change here the layer and go for hatch. Press here, and it's going to be used for the shapes, the patterns we are going to use. In this case, we are going to use line, and you can see if we pick points, now our walls can be, for example, 4 or 5 degrees, and this is the scale. You can see our walls now are painted. You can also select these and use other patterns, for example, the solid one. We are going to also use hatch for example, our floor. I'm going to first move the text outside so we don't mess it up, and we are going to use for floor. In this case, we can use, for example, net for this floor. We press right over there, angle 0, size is going to be 2 by 2. That's our floor. You can also use hatch, for example, for painting the different items you made. For example, here we are going to do that and these with a solid and a color. We go home, layer, colors, true color, something like that. And then you can also make all the drawing as you like. Now what we are going to use, make some linears, annotations, for example 6 by 6, 8 by 6. That are the exterior ones. We can do the interior ones, for example this one and this one, 8 by 4. And you can see the scale is too big. We are going to first select them and move it to annotations with the color by layer. And as it's too big the scale, what we are going to go is annotate and change manage dimension. We can also use the ones that are preset at Autocad. For example, let's see, this one is better, and that's our drawing. Okay, now what I'm going to show you, this is a very basic drawing. I'm going to show you other drawings that I have done in AutoCAD and then exported to other programs, so you can see what's the main difference you can get from AutoCAD. For example, here you can see a drawing made of of AutoCAD with the hatch and all the stuff we used. And now I'm going to show you some other, for example here we have other drawings with all the details. You can see here are all the details. And now I'm going to show you how we can move it to Photoshop. These are things that you can see at my webpage or at my YouTube, my other YouTube videos where you can learn how to do all this stuff. For example, here you can see one of the drawings that is changed on AutoCAD to Photoshop, and this is the what you can see the main difference we can get. Okay, I hope you like this tutorial. If you want to see more tutorials, subscribe and follow us. Thank you.
Suscríbete al canal para recibir nuevas novedades de los nuevos videos que vamos subiendo a este canal. Obviamente también si te gustó, recomienda el video, así otros pueden aprender lo mismo que aprendiste vos y todos podemos crecer. Recuerda que en este canal no solo tenemos contenidos como el que recién acabas de ver, sino que tenemos muchísimos más contenidos que podés seguir también aprendiendo. Ingresa y aprende.